Hello, Vigilantes. Welcome to another episode of Vigilante Vibes podcast, where we discuss all things Marvel, MCU, and nerd culture. I'm your host, Max Taff, joined by my co-host, the Jubilee to my sunspot, Megan Nicole.
Hello, mutants and mutant kind. Like Max said, we're here to give you all the Marvel talk, but in a non toxic way. It's the fun of the fandom without the gross toxicity that's running rampant in all the fandoms.
That's right. On today's episode, we have a very special guest with us. You may recognize her as the voice of Sunspot's mother, Nina da Costa. Please join us in welcoming Christine Uhebe.
Oh wow! It's such a pleasure to be here, guys.
We're so happy to have you.
We are so happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. And you were telling us before this is your first podcast appearance ever. We are so honored that you came on the show.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, thank you for having me. This actually is my first podcast ever, and it's exciting.
It is. And you're killing it.
It
You're
is.
doing amazing.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh my God. I loved your performance as Nina da Costa in X-Men 97. Absolutely incredible. So just kind of starting off, how did you get the role of Nina da Costa? What was that process like?
Well, actually, I didn't know that I was auditioning for Marvel. You know, they use
Mm.
like fake names for the auditions. So I did the audition, like a regular audition. And looking back, I'm actually pleased that it happened like that because, it took all the pressure off and I was able to just audition. And yeah, then I didn't hear back from it. I don't know, maybe from a month or so. And
Mm.
we were actually traveling, and we were in Holland visiting family. And I got a call from my agent, with the time difference. It was really like late for us there, so I was almost going to bed. And then Sam called, and we don't normally like have phone call from agents unless you book something like really cool. Normally it's emails or like brief conversations. And Sam called me, and I was okay. He explained to me. He said, "Christine, so you booked this. He still didn't connect. Maybe because of the time difference. Maybe, because we had used a different name. I don't even remember if there was a Nina in the audition. I don't think they gave me the specific name. So then he told me, he said, Christine, it's, for X-Men 97. I said, oh my God, this is brilliant. I was
Oh my
ecstatic.
gosh.
I couldn't sleep.
Oh, I
Oh,
don't
wow.
blame you. I don't blame you at all. So, wow, I mean, what a story. It must have been such a surprise, especially not knowing, what you were auditioning for. But like you said, I like the fact that you kind of said that it took a lot of the pressure off because, joining something, associated with Marvel can be a lot of
Absolutely.
pressure for an actor for
Absolutely.
sure.
And yeah, but after that, it was just pure joy.
That's
Oh,
wonderful.
wow. So, were you familiar with X Men when you got the role? Like, did you know about Roberto, or was this a whole new world for you?
Well, it was a mix of both. Of course, I knew about Marvel and I had seen many films and the X-Men, but the whole story, Roberto's story, was very new to me. And I had to start my research, and we don't have a lot out of, from, this side of the story out there. So it was interesting because it both freed me for the, for crafting Nina, and also, yeah, gave me like so many questions, and it was interesting.
Was there anything surprising you learned about this character?
Yeah, actually, that we were Brazilians, like that, like Sunspot is
Mm.
Brazilian, and I think in the original
Mhm.
comics, the father is Brazilian, right? And so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I believe
So it
so.
was very interesting to have Nina being a Brazilian and Roberto, and I think it's very important to bring our tradition to this role.
See, the representation is so important. It must have meant so much to you be playing a Brazilian character in a comic book series. Like, that's such a unique
Absolutely,
opportunity.
absolutely. I think it's the first Brazilian superhero with Marvel, right? The one that the Sunspot.
I think so.
So I think it brings a lot of responsibility, because It's we are representing our country and our culture, but at the same time, it's pure joy. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a dream role, right? I can represent my people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm able to speak a few words in
That's
Portuguese. I
amazing.
mean, are you kidding me? This is so special.
So,
Aw,
oh, that's so nice. Guy
it is
Augustini, he had
nice.
the same attitude. He was just so proud, and that's that's so beautiful to be able to show that kind of representation in something that's seen by so many people and it's so well loved.
Hmm.
So, and you guys did an incredible job.
Thank you, thank you. I believe,
Absolutely.
for both of us growing up in Brazil, right? I think Guy grew up in Brazil as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, growing up in Brazil and then now living in America and being able to, it's a door that
Hmm.
opens, right? And it's a big step, like to introduce my culture. I believe there are a lot of, South American culture as well with this role I kind of represented, right? Because we are very much like together.
Yeah.
It means a lot to us.
Oh,
And so many
That's
people reached
amazing.
me from Brazil and actually saying how excited they are because now they get to see like it's a superhero, a Brazilian superhero. It's
Yeah. I mean, it really resonates with a lot of people, especially in Brazil, especially Portuguese speakers. Like you mentioned, you got to speak a few words in Portuguese as well during the production. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like that seeing that on screen is so important to so many people. And that's why I think there was so much excitement about it.
absolutely, absolutely. It brings I don't know, into a lot of kids that watch this, right? That see that all their dreams
Hmm.
are possible. Because look, my dream,
Hmm.
I'm making my dream happen, right? So um yeah, I think this is important. Dreams are so important in life, and I'm very happy to be a part of that, for a kid, for someone watching the show, to see that anything is possible. You just have to believe and you just have to work after it.
Oh, that's so beautiful and so inspirational.
it really is. So, did you, after watching the show and being in the show, do you have a favorite X-Men character?
Well, my favorite character is in Forever will be Sunspot, right? Because I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
it's
fair.
he's my son, so and of course for all the
You
Hmm.
kind
reasons
of
for
have to choose him at that
I
point.
have to. I can't choose another one.
Oh,
And
Yeah, of
and meeting
course.
Guy as well. I mean, he's such a, it's so lovely to
Mm.
work with him. And actually, we didn't record together.
Hmm.
No, we had
Oh.
worked on a project together. That's how I met Guy. We were working on another project. There was this film produced
Oh.
and written and actually acted by a Brazilian, Musica. And we worked together on that
Mm.
project last year doing some looping. And that's how I met Guy. And back then, I believe that both of us, we were already involved in X-Men 97, but we didn't know. We had no
Mm.
idea. They really keep it like really together, right? Really closed
yeah.
off.
Yeah.
So we didn't know. And when I
Mm.
realized, and I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I worked with him in Musica, and now he's my son." I think I texted him and I said, "Are you playing my son? Are
Oh my
you
god,
Roberto?"
amazing. That's such a cute story. I'm so glad that you guys actually like had a little bit of history together before like, working on this project and you ended up being his mother.
Yeah,
That's
it was
crazy.
brief, but yeah, it's always so nice to recognize someone in the cast and get to work with someone that you know
Hmm.
because it brings a little bit of I don't know, tranquility. You feel at home in a certain way.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
It's
comforting.
Very
comforting.
familiar. Yeah,
Yes, and it can
comforting,
be
exactly.
intimidating, like doing something for Marvel and working with so many amazing, amazing people, like incredible talent. It can be intimidating.
Oh, I'm sure, especially people that have worked on the show, the animated series in the 90s. That can be very intimidating because they've done it for so long.
Absolutely. Now we recorded it
Mm-hmm.
separately, right? I think that's something that
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
normally think that we're all in a room together, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. That that's not how it worked for me. I was recording separately, and I believe Guy as well. So, and also because we started recordings, I think right after the pandemic. So I think it might have a play in this.
Mm.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Oh, wow. So when did you
Wow.
get to
So
meet the whole cast?
Well, I
yeah.
actually I didn't meet the entire cast. It was very
Mm-hmm.
I started going to the watch parties, right? They were doing these watch parties
Mm.
every
Yeah.
Wednesday at the Scum and Villainy in Hollywood. It's like it's a cantina, and I started going to the watch
Okay.
parties, and it was phenomenal. Like to really watch the episodes with everybody, like with some
Yeah.
some cast and crew and fans. It's the energy that you get from it. So I got to meet some people there. I met Leonore, I met Guy. I'm so
Mm.
like not there, but I had met him before. But so it was really, yeah. I met Bo there actually.
Oh.
It was because when we were recording, we really
Oh.
had everybody. There was a screen, and everybody was present with us. But of course, we were very much focused
Mm-hmm.
on the work. So meeting these amazing people like in person, it's really good. Feels nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to meet the people that you're working with, and even though you didn't get to record together, it's kind of like, oh, that's what you look like in person. It's like you get to see them in real life.
Exactly, exactly.
Is there anyone that you saw in person that you're like, "Oh, you're the one that voices you don't look like your character at all."
Yeah, were you surprised at all?
I don't think, no, surprise. No, there were some people that really gave me the impression that I had met them a long time ago. Like for example, when I met Lenore, it was
Mm.
so special. And it was so like
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
we had a great talk, and it felt, oh, you're part of the family. It's good.
No.
Aw.
And she's so sweet.
Oh.
She's such
That's
an
so
amazing
nice.
person.
Yeah, everybody who we have had from the cast come on who talks about Leonore says the same thing, that she's so sweet, she's so welcoming, and I think that's so wonderful that there's such a good connection with all the cast members. It's really special, and it's not every production is like that, so it's
Absolutely.
really
I
nice.
feel, to be honest, I feel completely spoiled by this production, in the good sense. Working with this team
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
a gift. It was really a gift from, everybody that I met,
Yeah.
everybody that I worked with. Our wonderful voice director, Meredith Lane, and everybody was really top notch.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Very nice. So, what would you say is your favorite thing about getting to voice act? What do you think is your favorite about the whole experience?
I think it's very freeing. To me, it's very freeing because it's very different than
Hmm.
shooting a film or being on theater. It's it's look, the acting is the same, right? You're like you get a role, and
Hmm.
you work on your part, and you just embrace that character. But the way you do it, it's very freeing because it's your voice. So, just that, you're focused on that and giving the best you can. You're not worried with so many other things like you have to when you're on set, or like maybe hitting your mark, or so
Hmm.
many different things, or focusing on your partner, for example, or having to memorize lines, which is a big one as well. And so, yeah, it's freeing. And so many times you just go. You don't think about. You don't have to go through makeup and and all of that. And
Oh yeah.
it's it's you. You just arrive, and you're kind of ready to start.
That's really cool.
That's so nice. It sounds like a lot less stress than having to be on camera, right? Because you've got your lines there, you're not going through, like you said, wardrobe or hair and makeup or anything. You can just show up to the studio. It's just your voice. So that sounds
Look,
very nice.
both have exciting things, exciting parts. It's just a different way to look at
Hmm.
it, right? And but
Yeah.
animation, especially when I got to see Nina for the first time, it's not like, it's my voice, but it's not me specifically on right on the screen. So it's very
Hmm.
special, like to see the work that people put behind it and like creating Nina. And I think that is the best part.
That's a very interesting thing that I've never really thought about it before. But yeah, it's true because sometimes you don't know what the character is going to look like before you start,
No, yeah.
recording. So, I mean, what was your reaction to the first time
It
you
was
saw
very,
her?
oh wow. It was really completely because I recorded, I didn't have a visual image of Nina. I mean, I had it in my mind what like it's almost like a
Mm.
dream, like what Nina would look like for me, but that's it. And then seeing her on screen, I said, "Yes, I love her."
Oh.
Was she more or less like what you were picturing, or was she
She
a little
was. She was
different?
very elegant and very, like um
Mm.
and I love that they gave her a glass of wine and right at the first thing, right?
Me too. That's
And living in this big mansion, I think it's beautiful, like this big penthouse. It's
yeah,
nice.
very
Oh,
cool.
that is. So, how did you feel playing a character like Nina DaCosta?
I feel I think it's a for a character like Nina, I think there's a big responsibility behind, like this role. So many people
Hmm.
reached out to me to say that how that, Roberto comes out scene, quote unquote, comes out scene, uh,
Hmm.
um, touch them, because they experienced something very similar with their parents, or something like, they opened up and then someone told them, shh, shh, yo, it's okay with me, but so many people, and I think that is so
Mm.
touching. It's so for me, it's so important. It's to hear that, and so there were a lot of moments that playing Nina, like I told you, I didn't have much to research from, but I used my
Hmm.
heart, in so many moments, even on the second, on the scene when I give him away to the Sentinels, for example. That scene,
Mm.
it's tough because there's nothing redeeming about that, and I have to. Um, and
Yeah.
of course, I have the words and everything, but I had to give a justification for myself as an actress, right? Why am I giving my son away? Why would I do that? And I based that
Mm.
actually on haven't said that before, but on a personal experience because
Mm.
in Brazil, I don't know if you guys know that, but when you're facing something like that, for example, someone holding a gun at you, you're told not to resist because that could mean endangering
Mm.
yourself and others you love. So I actually lived something different, but I was held at gunpoint, and I wasn't we were like I was in the car and
Oh
driving,
wow.
and my mother was next to me, and at the time I froze. I really did not know what to do with it because you just physically you freeze, you don't know what to do. And so that's how I justify the scene, for myself as an actress, because you, I was giving my son away. And in the first scene,
Hmm.
I do think that Nina cares for him. I think Nina cares for her for Roberto, and it's she actually thanks Jubilee, right, for being there for him. So that's
Hmm.
how I played it, and I justified it for myself. I don't, as an actress, I don't necessarily need to agree with a character, and I would
Hmm.
possibly have done it something very different, like giving a son away to, but you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's very nice to have like this outreach that I'm, getting with this that I'm receiving with it from so many people with this character, and so many people are being touched by, what's happening between Nina and Roberto.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry you understand what it feels like to be in that position. It's terrifying. I get it. But
Yeah.
it's such a strong thing that you're able to justify it for yourself so you can feel more related to the scene and to the character. I really admire that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because it's hard when you're given it's I have to justify everything a character does. That's my training. That's how
Hmm.
I learned. It's not just because otherwise it's the only way that you can pour yourself into a character, right? Um,
Mhm.
Hmm.
so yeah, there you go. I don't think I told this story
Yeah.
before, but
Oh my
Oh my gosh.
goodness.
Well, thank you for trusting us enough to tell
Yeah.
us. And I'm so sorry that you went through that. But I mean, that's such an interesting thing that you drew from that, though, with this type of a character, because I never really thought about it from that perspective, right? Like she could just be saying, like, oh, just go, not to make the situation worse. And I think that that's very interesting.
yeah, for myself, I made the choice of making it like deeper. I had to, like, just, like, actually to
Hmm.
even to honor the scene. It's so beautifully written. And
Hmm.
in a situation like that, I don't know, but I do believe, like, even if you see, like, in the show, like, there is a moment that she looks before she answers, right? And I think it's not
Hmm.
clear what she's thinking, or what she wants to do,
Hmm.
but it's her son. I mean, it has to be more than just the casual, "Oh, go away," right? It's go with them.
Yeah.
I think she deep down, and she's dealing with so much. So I think, like, ultimately she did the best she could, with her circumstances and the circumstances of the scene. I think Nina, it's another generation as well, right, guys? You have to, like, it's something
Hmm.
important to think of, that for so many people, they don't know how to deal with that. For so many, it's new.
I do think it goes over Nina's head because, I mean, if my child said, "Hey, mom, I'm a mutant," of course you want to be like, "I support you no matter what." But it's like, what do I do?
What do I
Where do
do?
I
What
go?
do I
I
go? And
don't know.
even to protect him,
Yeah.
because when you know that so
Yeah.
many mutants are, suffering, you don't want that for your son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
So,
course. Yeah.
Of
Of
but it's
course.
tricky.
course.
Of
It's
course.
tricky.
It is tricky, especially when, like you said, it's not something that you necessarily agree with as a person when your character is doing things that you wouldn't necessarily do. So I find it very remarkable how you were able to find the inspiration to kind of like plug in to kind of sort of relate to what she was doing. And you're right, you made a very good point. It is a different generation. Most likely she was always taught, keep things quiet. It's okay, but just don't talk about them, things like that. Like when he was coming out and the way he told her and the way she kind of reacted to it. So yeah, it's true. It's just the way she was probably raised as well.
It's true.
It's the way that probably, yeah, that she was raised, and not knowing how to deal with that. There's so much happening, and how am I going to justify it to your friends, justify it to your family. It's not the way that you were raised. So even if you understand, it's hard. But I admire the courage, that Roberto has, to just
Hmm.
go on, and you move forward and say, "Hey, this is me," and he has all the in my opinion, my personal opinion, like, to the reasons to feel betrayed by her mom, right? by
Yeah.
his mom, by his mom, like he did. So, because it is, you feel like that, right?
Yeah.
I
Of
can only
course.
imagine. And especially, you, I think all of us, it's so important to have parents' approval,
Oh,
It
yeah.
is sometimes. It feels that
right?
way.
It is. It's because it's people that, you have the most, I don't know, it's essence. It's like that solid link of love.
Hmm.
So since you're a child, like to grow up with that support, it's very important. And for those who don't have it or didn't have it, it really it marks their life,
Yeah,
right? Their lives with in so many ways.
it's very true.
So I think it's an important scene. I think it's a very important scene, and I feel very touched by by everybody who reached out and told me. And but I stand strong, like live your life because we have one life,
Yeah.
Of course,
and we
yeah.
have to live it according to our dreams and our wishes and being who you are. I think that
Hmm.
is so important. You have to have the strength to be who you are. That's how I was
Absolutely.
raised. So,
Well, it's
That's
beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah, it really is. And I just think that the storytelling, the parallels you can draw from the situation with Nina and Roberto, um, it spoke so much louder than just a mom with a mutant son. And I think that like you said, it resonated with so many people, and it was such a rich piece of storytelling that really it told more than one type of story, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm explaining that right.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. More than one. It told like multiple stories in one simple. Look, I
Yeah.
could connect to it, right? In something
Hmm.
completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think that is the brilliance of Bo writing this piece. I think he's such a genius. It's
Yeah.
I, it's outstanding.
It it
It's
It was
really
an
really
amazing.
it
amazing.
really is.
It was an amazing season. I absolutely
Yeah.
loved it, and the whole thing through and through. It was a very well crafted piece for sure.
It was amazing. And one of you asked me what was one of the most kind of important moments for me. Receiving the script was actually really
Mm.
cool. When I remember like actually seeing the script, and I of course I printed it and I put like I made it like really like a script because we received
Mm.
it digitally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh.
then I like with the three folds, it was like seeing it, holding it, and reading it. I think on my episode, Captain America is in my episode, so it's like so like cool, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, look, I grew up in this small town in Brazil, like,
Hmm.
far away from America and all of this. So being in Hollywood and being able to play this role has really a lot of meaning to me.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sure.
that's so nice.
It,
Man, that's amazing.
it is. It's so nice. You're living a lot of people's dreams right now, and we couldn't be happier for you. You brought so much to the character, and whether how however people feel about Nina da Costa, no one can deny that every scene with her was powerful in a different way to someone else. It spoke to, like Max said, it's told so many different stories at the exact same time. So
Hmm.
it's incredible to see just what looks from the outside, what could just be a small scene, was just so much emotion in one thing.
Yeah, I think it was a small scene but impactful
Yeah.
Yeah.
to so many people, and so many people related to the scene. And that only, like, really, if that is the message, if we're able to, you know, pass a message to someone like just by with a few words and watching like a little simple scene, it doesn't matter what it is. I think that's what's behind it, and that's why we do this, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, my next question for you is, without asking you any spoilers, because we don't want to get you in trouble. What would you like to see change between Nina and Roberto?
Well, of course, I want them to be together, right?
Hmm.
Me as Christine,
Hmm.
right? As watching it separately, I would love to see that. I would love to see them somehow, coming together, because I know Roberto is it's hurt, really
Hmm.
hurt, right? He ended the season very hurt by her and by her
Yeah.
actions, and I think I would love to see that. I would love, because like I said before, there is nothing like feeling that peace in your heart that you're really like understood by people you love.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, I think it really can leave you like a scar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That and yeah. So I think that it's important. All we want is, like, I think every human being is to be loved and accepted.
Hmm.
So that's what ultimately I would wish for them. This is my wish, but let's see what they have in mind for her and for Roberto, and it will be fun either way, and
Yeah.
I think
Well, we can't
Yeah.
wait to
I'm.
see what else you do with Nina. So far, you've been
Yes.
incredible. And I really
Hmm.
hope that's what happens. And I really, really hope that one day we get to see Sunspot show his mom his powers and he, turns black with flames everywhere and she just thinks
Hmm.
it's beautiful. That's what I hope.
Yeah.
I know I would love to see a little bit more of their, I don't know, their story together, maybe before, or him as a kid, or
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
getting to that, right?
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
would, that's yeah, I think that's my second wish, right? To see them really, yeah, a little bit of the backstory, and maybe in Brazil, I
Yeah.
don't know,
Oh,
like
that would be
at an
awesome.
early age. That would be cool. I think that would be, and fans in Brazil would love this. I'm sure
Yeah.
it will be a
Hmm.
pleasure to,
Oh, yeah. We
Yeah, it
would
would be
love
to
really
it
bring
too.
them
cool.
to Brazil.
Yeah, I would love to see kind of like where Nina comes from in a lot of her decision making. I would love to see, but ultimately, I think personally, like what I would love to see, I would love to see her and Roberto just have a conversation, like together, like alone, just to talk everything out.
Yes.
I think I would love to see them just like to get a chance to really like lay all the cards on the table and like just have a really honest conversation and express their feelings. I think that's my biggest wish for
Yeah,
upcoming
their
seasons.
feelings and their fears, I think
Mm-hmm.
them from both sides. Like we said, there's so much love, but there's also so much fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those two pillars, right, love and fear, can kind of guide you in life. And I
Yeah.
hope that at the end, love will prevail.
Yeah.
Because when you
Yes.
when you when you lead with love and not fear, for whatever in whatever circumstance or for whatever reason, you are guided towards light. And
Absolutely.
I swear
that's what I think. I hope.
you're the most
Hmm.
inspirational person.
Thank
No,
you.
Welcome.
I love it. It's so beautiful. You have
Thank
such a
you.
beautiful perspective, and I think that's so
Yeah.
it's so great to see someone with so much passion and such a great perspective, like playing this character because it's so easy. Like we've talked about like a few minutes ago, it's so easy to just write her off as like a villain, right? Like, oh, she gave away her son to these robots, and she's making him keep himself a secret. But like the way you approach the character and her motivations, I think it lends so well, and I can't wait to see how you continue to unpack that like in future seasons if we do get to see Nina come back in more of X-Men 97. And I just one thing that I really would love to see is her reaction to seeing Roberto using his powers. I think she's gonna freak out, and I really hope.
Absolutely. Can you imagine, like, the
Yeah.
surprise of it? I wonder if she actually, I'm sure she knew it, but like to actually see it,
Yeah,
right? At
exactly.
this stage, like really, and now that he's really like, maybe after because right now he's experiencing, he's learning and all of
Hmm.
that, but to see the whole transformation, I think it's, yeah, magical.
Yeah, she's
And
gonna
I think
be.
there would be a little bit of pride in that, maybe, right?
Oh,
Maybe,
yeah.
who knows?
Maybe.
I think,
I
there's
hope so.
always,
Yeah.
I hope so.
So, before we wrap up, do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you? And if you have any future projects do you want to talk about?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I actually, I'm in this amazing film directed by Alec Tibaldi. It was just released on Apple TV like last week. Yeah, we had our
Mm.
premiere in New York, and there is an amazing cast. Ashley Judd, Sarah Pigeon,
Oh, wow.
who was just nominated for a Tony. She's on Broadway with a play right now. So Asher Angel. So it's called Lazarus, and it's on
Mm.
Apple TV.
Oh.
And we had so much fun, like shooting that. It's special. It's a really indeed a special project. Looking up. Okay, I will be in the upcoming upcoming and final season of the SEAL Team.
Oh,
It's being released somewhere this year, so I can't talk much about that. But all I say is like it's gonna be some there is something really cool.
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, so those are yeah, it's exciting.
This is
Oh, that's
exciting.
awesome.
And where can our listeners follow you on social media?
Okay, Instagram.
Mm.
Instagram is the best. Christine Webby. Yeah, you can find me there. And I'm not so huge on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
They're related, but I'm more on Instagram these days. That's all.
All right. Well,
Excellent. All
perfect.
right.
Well, thank you so much for stopping
Thank
by.
you so much. This was so much fun. You
This,
made it so easy,
oh,
and
Oh,
I loved it.
good. Awesome. We loved having you. Thank you so much again for taking the time to meet with us. We had a great time talking to you, and we wish you so much luck.
yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you for giving Nina kind of this opportunity for us to kind of discuss the scene and, talk about it. I think there are a lot of people out there that will love this. So
I
thank
think
you.
so. And
It's been a wonderful
I think so
experience
too.
altogether.
please stop by whenever
Oh,
you'd like.
awesome.
We loved you. You're the
Oh,
sweetest thing ever.
Yes, you're welcome back anytime.
thank you, thank you. I'd love to. Pass by, have a coffee together. Now you're both in different
Yes,
places and I'm here in
I know.
California, so
And that's a wrap on this bonus episode of Vigilante Vibes, a Marvel podcast. Special thank you to Christine Webby for agreeing to interview with us. We had the best time. Until next time, you can follow me on Twitter at Vigilante Vibes, and you can follow Megan and I over at nerdinitiative.com as we review the latest movies, shows, and comics. Follow our podcast on all the socials at Vigilante Vibes Podcast. Join our non-toxic Facebook group of over 50,000 members, Mediaverse Comics Unwrapped. Follow our public Facebook page, Vigilante Vibes Podcast. We have new episodes premiering every week. If you like what you've heard, please hit that subscribe button. And if you really love us, drop a 5-star review wherever you are listening to this episode. We would so appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, and goodbye for now.